great deal of time for Sue and what she did. She had some of the most difficult prisoners that ever was in Long Bay in her art class and that, and she used to get 100% effort out of them. No one else could that I know. And so I always made sure that when I went to Long Bay, I'd go around and see Sue. She was in a little corner of the jail and a lot of people were against her and what she was trying to do. But I always admired her for the work she did, and she did a fantastic job. And I don't think anyone's done as good ever since that I know. And some of those prisoners were very dangerous men in their own right when you look at their criminal behaviour. But she could get the best out of them. She could make them shine. A lot of them had no idea of the ability they had themselves, and she could bring the best out in them. So they shone in art and sculpture. She went around Parramatta Jail and photographed all the signage on the yards, and some of those signs at Parramatta have been painted over with the same yard number for 100 years, and they were really done in a style that they probably did in the mid-1800s, some of them. And she had a photographic account of all those, and I thought that was a brilliant project. If there was any mules in the jail, she was very interested in them, and not only the painting, but the history of it, and who did it, and the history of the offenders who did that sort of thing. It was a remarkable job. Everyone liked it. They showed interest in who did it and where it came from. And she used to have that outlet to sell art down in front of the Central Industrial Prison Gate.
Yep.
And that was very well attended by staff and people from the outside. Even visitors would buy art there.
So that gallery's still running now, even though we've moved it a couple of times. We've kept it running continuously, and last week we had a special NAIDOC Week art competition where inmates around the jails were encouraged to do paintings on NAIDOC Week, on the theme that always was and always will be.
Well, that's a fantastic thing to do. As you know, of my interest in Aboriginal offenders and their programs, I think that's a very worthwhile project, as is the art at Bathurst Jail, in the building designed as the token of the Wiradjuri people at Bathurst is the monitor lizard. So the design of that art gallery and where the prisoners paint at Bathurst is designed as a iguana, with the tail being the ramp for the wheelchairs and prams and things, and the head is actually raised above the ground where the prisoners actually paint, and from the air it is the exact shape of a iguana.
Some of the ministers took a bit of an interest in it. I remember your friend John Hatzisteros, now the judge in the district court, was also really keen on the art program, and anytime he went anywhere near Long Bay, he'd go out there and spend some time in the gallery as well, and used to buy inmate art.
Yeah.
So,
he used to like, at conferences and that, he used to like handing out Aboriginal art, little artefacts from the prisoners. Even things like, he used to call a pet rock, a little rock with Aboriginal painting on it. Here's your pet rock, and here's your pet rock. Yeah, it was very good. He got a lot of joy out of that. Well, some of the art that they did was excellent. I've had some assessed by professionals, and they say it's as good as they've seen around. Some of it wasn't so good. But every time I went to Pawarrina, the prisoners had put all their art around their dongas, and as I walked around, I knew I had to buy something every time I went there. So even if it was $20, at least I bought something. And it really, for a lot of those offenders, the sad thing is they don't know their ability when it comes to art. And dancing, you introduce them to dancing, and playing the didgeridoo and that sort of thing, you know, it just changes their demeanour greatly. She got an aura of peace around her, and she was never aggressive, even though I've seen her, she must have been wild at some of the reactions from prison officers to what she was doing down there on her own. They always thought they should have had an officer in there, and they'd look at the money, and they'd be jealous of her doing that job down there on her own without a prison officer. And that was the cause of a lot of it. But she was a very peaceful, calm person. And even the most aggressive prisoner would see that in her straight away and respond to it, I believe. I had the greatest respect for you, Sue. You did a fantastic job, and I always supported what you did. And thanks very much for the contribution to corrective services that you make.